I hate the tower. Now, I know that might be a controversial thing to say. This is like the home of the Guardians. It's a social space that we spend a lot of time in to meet new people and interact with NPCs. But really, though, every time I come here, it's always against my will due to lack of engram space or a postmaster's full message at the bottom of my screen. If you play this game for like any real extended period of time, you end up needing to go to the tower, not to meet people, not to interact with NPCs, simply just to clean your inventory. Not only that, there's just a lack of reason to come here, as a lot of the NPCs in the game are just borderline useless now. Bungie removed reputation tracks. Shax, Zavala, the Drifter, hell, the Gunsmith had it too. They all don't have any reason to interact with them anymore outside of needing to buy an old power crap weapon from pre-Edge of Fate. The only reason to ever go to the tower now is just to delete engrams out of my postmaster or turn in engrams out of Raoul. Inventory management is the only reason I go to the tower now, and it has made me hate visiting this place. I even hate it more, especially since I'm on PC, and for some reason I can matchmake against PlayStation and Xbox players, making the normal 30-second fly-in sometimes over 5 minutes. It is borderline hair-pulling sometimes. A place that used to be full of whimsy and life is now just a hollow location full of useless NPCs that really only ever get FaceTime when some random quest step tells me to talk to them. Now, this is not to say that the tower doesn't have uses at all. You still gotta come here to visit Xur or pick up Trials passages at Saint, or off the random chance you're a new player somehow, Ikora sells all the old aspects and fragments. Ironically, that reputation system I mentioned that Bungie removed from so many different NPCs, that's actually still here, at Hawthorne, which is a very funny thing because people considered her to be the most useless NPC for such a long time, and she has the one feature we want back, reputation tracks at NPCs, and she somehow has it. A lot of the reasons to even visit the tower nowadays just feel like checklisting items. You come to Saint to grab a passage for the week. You never talk to him again. You go to Zavala to pick up your powerful rewards once a week, and then you don't talk to him again. There's so many different NPCs that just don't get any FaceTime anymore, and simply because Bungie removed intuitive systems that made them feel worth speaking to. The only NPC in the tower that I can outright say still has some use is Ada 1 because synthweave bounties are just so valuable for transmog, and fashion is a real endgame. Every Destiny player knows that. So having her there is very nice. But still, you can get those bounties from Orbit if you have any sort of third-party app. So even then, that point's kind of null and void. Hell, even Banshee is useless now. He just gives you old weapons. The old bounty system we had where you can get like enhancement cores, no longer a thing. So there's just never a reason to talk to him unless he sells some random god roll you're interested in. Seriously, it just feels like the majority of the time you visit the tower is never to talk to an NPC. It's majority of the time just to speak to the postmaster or speak to Raoul, which I know are NPCs, but in my mind, they are just inventory management simulator, because that's all you really do involving those two people. My reason to visit the tower is never something that feels fun anymore. To me, it's always just a chore that takes 30 seconds and then I go right back to Orbit and continue playing whatever I was playing. I want to go to the tower excited, not go frustrated that it's getting in the way of what I really want to do, which is shoot aliens with my gun. Back in Destiny 1, going to the tower, it felt impactful. When you had an inventory full of engrams ready to decrypt, you felt enjoyment in learning what you got. Rather, it was a purple that turned into a blue, or if you were lucky enough to get an exotic out of a purple. There was some sort of magic in going to the tower, and somewhere along the lines, I feel like this got lost, and we just kind of grew to know what to expect. Because the amount of times I've decrypted 10 exotic engrams to just dismantle every single one of them is way more often than I'd like. It's always just because of inventory issues. It's never because I'm excited to get an actual engram drop. Now, all this does sound like a lot of complaining, and yes, I know it is, but to me, it just shows that there's an issue with the tower and the place it has in the game and how it doesn't feel like an actual intuitive location anymore. It just feels like a place you go to in order to sort your inventories. It's an issue with inventory management, not really the tower, per se. I mean, seriously, D2 has been out for almost 10 years now, and we still have the same 10 engram slots for launch. The Postmaster has seen almost no significant updates, and for the large number of players, these two systems, the Cryptarch and the Postmaster, are what we interact with the most. One of my biggest quality of life changes I just want to see is to have Postmaster from anywhere or Cryptarch from anywhere, similarly to how in episode Revenant we got the Vault from Anywhere system. Now this may not make sense lore-wise, or maybe it's a thematic issue, but if I can limit the amount of times I have to fly into the tower to speak to these two, I would be a much happier Guardian. We're really going into some weird times regarding Destiny, and I think it's just time we really start looking at some of these old systems, and I mean the oldest of systems. Recently we got a revamp to the Vault, which is by far one of my favorite additions to the game in such a long time. And I like to see these old vendors who haven't seen much love get a well-needed facelift. I mean, maybe Master Raoul teaches us the art and we can now decrypt our own engrams from Orbit. Or maybe Kadi 55 starts sending things to our ship instead of holding it at the Postmaster. I mean, seriously, if Eververse is available to us at all times, no matter where we are, I feel like the Postmaster as well as Raoul should be allowed as well. They're old systems that just need some love. NPCs in the tower just feel like checklists now, rather than intuitive systems we engage with. You speak to them, you grab a thing, and you move on. And this is a far contrast to pre-Edge of Fate when they had reward tracks with weapons, materials, and cosmetics all up for grabs. It's also an incredibly stark contrast compared to what we got with Renegades. The Tharsis Outpost, which feels way more lived in, it feels way more like a real place I want to visit compared to the tower, which often I never have a reason to go to, outside of cleaning my inventory once every 30 minutes. I mean, really, while we're on the subject of the tower and like reward tracks, Bungie, can you please give Shaxx the old comp weapons instead of just waiting to see if Xur sells it? That'd be a great quality of life change, not just for like the tower in general, but just every player ever, because we want to get roses and not have to wait 5 weeks to see if Xur sells it. Just do that, please. Okay, thanks. The point of the video is just to express how the tower feels more like a chore that I don't want to do, rather than being a place I actively want to visit anymore. The clickbaiting title is half true, because I do love the tower, but more for nostalgic reasons than anything it currently offers. It feels hollow, it's felt empty ever since the Edge of Fate, and it's not because Guardians aren't there, it's because it feels like as a Guardian, I have no reason to be there, outside of cleaning my inventory once or twice a day. You know, let me know your thoughts. Do you visit the tower often still? And if so, what are your reasons for even going there? Let me know what you think, and maybe it's just me feeling this way, but I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.